All right, so another beautiful Sunday is here. Good evening and welcome to Iron Port here on Metropolitan Television. Remember, Iron Port is proudly brought to you by the Ghana Revenue Authority, GOIL PLC, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link Network Services, Meridian Port Services, MPS, and indeed Phoenix Insurance. The show is proudly powered by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority-GPHA, and our media partner on this journey of a lifetime is the Business and Financial Times, the BNFT. If you want to have a grasp of all that transpired on the show tonight, make a date and grab the Thursday edition of the BNFT, and you'll be able to see all that happened here on the show. Tonight, we are streaming live on our social media pages. On Facebook, we are live at Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Still on Facebook, we are streaming live at Port of Tema. And on YouTube, we are live at Iron Port. Iron Port. We shall be getting interactive with you as usual. And so all you have to do is sit back, relax, and grab your phones and send us your messages and comments via our dedicated WhatsApp line 0559177. 05590191177. When the time is ripe, we shall share them with the rest of the world. And then we shall also activate the phone lines along the line for you to call in and contribute to the discussion. My name is Kennedy Mona. We are going for a quick break. When we return, we'll continue the show. Please stay with us.
Guys, no, I'm tired. I'll go on a date with whoever gets here first.
Princess, really? Okay, I come.
Shut up!
Mommy, Boss, fill my tank with Super XP Euro 95.
Fill up with Super XP Euro 95 and Diesel XP high performance products from GOIL.
Sorry, Tony got here first, so I'm stepping with him.
Oh, cut him. Hey, go for mommy.
Choose Super XP Raw 95 and Diesel XP for an energizing driving experience. Always go for GOIL Super XP Raw 95. GOIL, good energy.
GOIL is good energy. Electricity, then pay your taxes. Yeah. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Impressive factory. If only I had listened to you, I wouldn't have been in this mess. That devastating fire virtually wiped out the whole factory and my warehouse.
Remember my misfortunes last year? Serene Insurance Asset All Risk Fire policy that I took were there to pay for my damaged stocks in the warehouse, and my machines that were affected by the floods have been replaced. My accident vehicle is back on the road thanks to Serene Insurance motor policy. Suddenly my goods are on the high seas covered with their marine cargo insurance policy. I was just telling Ajima about Serene Insurance.
Oh, Ajima,
tell him more.
As a road contractor, I make sure I do my contractors all risk insurance
for the projects, and then workers' compensation for all the workers on site. With Serene Insurance, they will make sure they will cover your unknown tomorrow today.
Serene Insurance, a new face of insurance. Call us now.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
Business and life can be like the sea sometimes. Sometimes serene, sometimes calm. sometimes turbulent, and at times it brings the unexpected. However it is like, trust Phoenix Insurance for your home, car, business, and marine insurance needs. Call 0302 246 319 or 0243 690 492.
At Phoenix, you experience a delightful service delivered with wisdom.
All right, so welcome back. We are now going to take a look at happenings in the port and shipping industry in the course of the week. And indeed, in the course of the week, United States delegation visited the fishing harbor in the port of Tema, and this was centered on illegal, unregulated, and unreported fishing. I'll tell you all about that particular story, plus the fact that the first cohort of the GPHA CILT machine operation training also took place, and it was launched. And we saw some people graduating on that particular day. We have details of these stories and more for you. Please enjoy.
The acting U.S. Assistant Secretary of State for Oceans and International Environmental and Scientific Affairs, Jennifer R. Littlejohn, has visited Ghana as part of a working tour to 3 coastal countries. Her visit centers on nature and marine conservation, plastic pollution, the climate crisis, deforestation, nature crimes, civil and commercial space activities, and the sustainable blue economy. In Ghana, she met with partners associated with U.S.-supported projects helping to rebuild and protect Ghana's coastal fisheries and engage with university students studying environmental issues. She led a delegation to the Tema fishing harbor to gain first-hand experience of ongoing initiatives to curb illegal, unregulated, and unreported fishing in the industrial, semi-industrial, and artisanal sectors of the fishing industry. She also chaired an open forum with the fishing community to discuss the various practical impediments to safe, wholesome, and legal fishing in Ghana. The Vice President of the National Fisheries Association of Ghana, Rista Niama Amafio, hosted the delegation and led a tour at the Tema fishing harbor.
Before we came here, we went to the port. She looked at tuna vessels and trawl vessels because we are taking measures to ensure that the trawlers comply. So we are piloting electronic monitoring system on all the trawl vessels to ensure that whatever activity happens on the trawl vessel are seen right on time to avoid illegal fishing and illegal activities. You realize that almost all the women were blaming the trawlers for all the things that are happening at sea. But I can assure you that a lot has been done beyond what they know.
He said such forums give stakeholders the opportunity to develop an appreciable perspective on environmental issues in the marine fisheries sector.
So now that you've been able to deal with significantly the activities of trawl that could be said to be illegal, now we now expect the Commission, probably working with those of us in the industry, to engage. This is an eye-opening experience. Sadly, it happened before a foreigner. That everything wrong in Ghana is about foreigners. But it's also an opportunity for us to now engage them more and let them know that we could do better.
A senior researcher at the Center for Maritime Law and Security Africa, Dr. Rebecca Isamwa, said Jennifer Littlejohn's visit has come at an opportune time to disabuse the notion of some sections of the industry in the nation's direction on IUU fishing.
One thing that they mentioned clearly was that they couldn't tell the difference between IUU caught fish and fish that was properly caught, in the sense that was not IUU. And so I think that coming on board through the government, helping them to identify what IUU fish is, helping them to understand, whether through infographics, whether through more media coverage, including them in the decision making, it's important. And on their part, we need them to understand and not to follow the narrative that IUU is not by them and that is by the industrial trawlers. We need to help them understand that it's on both sides and they need to help curb it.
The Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority recognizes the vital role of skilled machine operators in the discharge of duties at Ghana's ports. The organization does not only invest in the professional growth of its employees, but also demonstrates its commitment to upholding the highest standard of operational excellence and safety. To this end, the Learning and Development School of GPHA has partnered with the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport Ghana to launch a machine operation training program to empower individuals with the skills and knowledge needed to excel in the field of machine operations and address the skill shortage in the maritime sector. Earlier this week, a graduation ceremony was held for the first cohort of 30 trainees in this program. This month-long training program consisted of 1 week of intensive tutoring and 3 weeks of field work. The general manager in charge of administration at GPHA, Kwabna Edusafo, indicated that the international status of this certification will enable operators qualify for jobs in the global maritime industry.
This is a very important collaboration because what we have done is to try and elevate this training program to an international status, where this certificate that will be offered today is recognized everywhere. And for me, it is an important collaboration. Not only are we training operators for our local community, but also to benefit other sister ports and other countries.
The president of the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport Ghana, Engineer Mark Amwama, underscored the importance of continuous personal and professional development in keeping abreast with the ever-evolving technology in logistics.
The logistics and transport industry is constantly evolving, driven by technological advancements, industry best practices, and evolving. As such, it is essential for such of you, machine operators, to remain flexible and adaptable, continually seeking opportunities to enhance your skills and also to be abreast with industry trends and practices. I encourage you to explore further training and certification that will bolster your expertise and expand your career opportunities.
Engineer Stephen Ovia, the logistics manager at the port of Tema, spoke to Iron Port on the sidelines of the graduation ceremony.
What we have been doing, because of our ISO certification, we have been certifying right from the restacker operators down. Because we have large numbers, there are over 200. So what we decided to do is to make sure each one that goes on any equipment has to go through the training, get certified by a professional body before we allow you to go on the machine. So that is being done for all the operators of GPHA equipment.
The Learning and Development Manager at GPHA, Solomon Sakite, said this initiative adds up to GPHA's bright position in the port and maritime sector of West and Central Africa.
One of the things that position us strategically in the sub-region is our ability to train technical people. Within the sub-region, from Nigeria straight down to Mauritania, it has positioned us strategically as we play that pivotal role. And what we want to do is, when people come and we train them, we want them to have that international recognition so that the benchmarking would be with international. So that certification and that collaboration with CILT is going to enhance for us to achieve that objective of having that international recognition for the certificates we issue to the participants.
Those were happenings in the port and shipping industry in the course of the week. We are now going to take some international port and shipping news.
U.S. Environmental Protection Agency has launched a $3 billion Clean Ports program to fund zero-emission port equipment and infrastructure to tackle the climate crisis and improve air quality at U.S. ports. The Clean Ports program is designed to help ports across the country transition to fully zero-emissions operations, serving as a catalyst for transformational change across the freight sector. To achieve this, EPA is releasing 2 separate notice of funding opportunities as part of the $3 billion project. The nearly $2.8 billion zero-emission technology deployment competition would directly fund zero-emission port equipment and infrastructure to reduce mobile source emissions at U.S. ports. CMA CGM, Costco Shipping, Evergreen, and Orient's Overseas Container Line, the founding members of the world's largest shipping network, have signed a memorandum of understanding in Shanghai to extend the Ocean Alliance operational cooperation for 5 additional years until 2032. Under the MOU, the partners plan to extend their cooperation until March 31, 2032. Launched in the spring of 2017, Ocean Alliance is the world's largest operational shipping network and the backbone of trade routes for international commerce. In January 2019, the partners agreed to extend the pact until 2027.
Remember, the word or phrase of the day has been fashioned to bring you up to speed with the terminologies and jargons we use in the shipping industry. Today's word is landing cost. Landing cost.
Landed cost refers to the total cost of a shipment delivered to a named location, specifically the cost of goods plus all associated shipping costs.
All right, so you're welcome back. We are now zooming into a discussion proper tonight, and tonight we are taking a look at the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, how we fared, how the ports in Ghana fared the year 2023, and what the 2024 looks like. And then we'll also be taking a look at some of the things that we're doing as a port authority to actually live up to our pledge of becoming the preferred port in the Western sub-region. And so it gives us a pleasure this evening to introduce to us the Director General of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Mr. Michael Achagwe Luguje. Good evening, sir. DJ, and welcome.
Good evening.
Awesome. It's not easy to have him in the studio. So when you have him in the studios, you know that he's taking time off his busy schedule actually to oblige us. And that's why we are so excited this evening to have him. And since it's your first time in the studio for the year 2024, we say Happy New Year, sir.
Thank you very much. Happy New Year to all of us.
Right. Yes. Awesome. All right. So let me begin by asking you how the year 2023 panned out in the shipping industry as far as the ports are concerned. How would you say we fared, sir?
Well, generally, I would say we fared quite well, despite the challenges globally.
Right.
The first half of last year was really scary. Our ports were just dry. We had to do a whole lot of engagement with stakeholders, at least to get to know what is happening and what they were thinking.
Right.
Fortunately for us, when we started the second half, at least traffic rebounded.
Right.
And we ended the year at least not too far away from our performance for 2022. And I think that the 2023 as well, even whilst that was going on, we did not relent in our efforts to try and equip. And fortunately for us, our finances also permitted us to acquire a couple of equipments.
Right.
And also, of course, all the other expansion programs that we've been doing in the ports of Tema and Takoradi. So I think on the whole, I would say, though we would have wished we did better in 2023, but on the whole, it was a very good year for us.
Right.
I think traffic volumes dropped by just about a million tons in total for our two ports,
right,
which is not a bad one at all compared to the dip between 2021 and 2022. Yes.
Right. You did indicate that there were stakeholder engagements and consultations just to try to find out what the issues were. And during the second quarter, things rebound. Did these engagements yield any results?
Yeah, certainly. I think at the end of the first quarter, we noticed our ports virtually did not get any vessel. And so we felt, much as a port authority, we had done our own research and we're drawing certain conclusions as to why volumes dropped. It was important for us to talk to all other stakeholders, the importers, the exporters, the freight forwarders, customs, everybody who had a role to play, who contributed in import and export business.
Yes.
And that engagement really revealed quite a lot. I mean, we had the Spare Parts Importers Association, the GUTA, and all others who shared various perspectives with us and actually called on us to also take up the issues with government, with Ministry of Transport and others, which we did. But we also engaged shipping lines that were carrying the cargo to know whether indeed the volumes that were not coming during the first half were because Ghana's economy wasn't attractive or for some other reasons. And at the end of it all, we got a good indication that the second half was going to be positive. And I think it became positive. From our own side, from that engagement, we realized we needed to take certain measures internally.
Right.
And one of those included, at least for our transit operators, those in Burkina Faso and others, the need to try and introduce a certain level of stability in the exchange rate that we applied for their goods that arrived. So on the whole, that engagement really was fruitful. And it helped us at least pick up in our second half of the year. And we ended the year quite well.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's take a look at the specifics, the ports of Tema and Takoradi. What was the performance like?
Well, I think the two ports really, I mean, the Tema is the bigger of the two.
Yes.
And I mean, by all the measures, we look at just the total volumes. If you take incidentally for Takoradi, we noticed that at the end of it all, we did slightly better in Takoradi compared to 2022.
Right.
But in Tema, of course, we're at 19 million in 2022, and we'll be 18 million in 2023. But on the whole, if you put it all together, then you have 27 million for 2022 and 26 million tons for 2023.
Right.
We did not see anything very unusual in terms of the volumes we got.
Right.
But the global economy, indeed, we had fears because of the developments in this half that we're really going to do very badly.
Right.
But on the whole, it was good. It was good. We are looking forward to this year doing better. Yeah.
So I want you to look back at 2023 and perhaps take a few highlights, major points from 2023. What would you say were some of the key highlights from 2023 for you in the maritime country, for us in the country?
I think 2023, of course, apart from the situation we had and the fact that we virtually got the whole country's attention drawn to the maritime sector, that volumes were in, and got all stakeholders around the table to discuss the subject, we shared quite valuable insights with us as to their perspectives were in terms of performance and where they also suggested how we could improve. That was a good landmark for us. Right. Apart from that, we also looked at our equipment pool. We looked at the Takoradi where the expansion program, we had our dry bulk jetty, which is a state-of-the-art dry bulk terminal with a conveyor. I think for now, in the entire region, we have the best in terms of a dry bulk container, dry bulk. We also had the Takoradi container terminal also completing. We also had, of course, our oil terminal project fully launched and it's ongoing currently. We hope that it will be completed by the end of the year.
Yeah.
And of course, our equipment procurement process, we also launched it quite well and looked at all the options to be able to at least, retool our ports.
Yes.
Procurement was launched last year. We entered this year, and so far we've received 4 restackers, 2 empties and 2 full container types. Right. We are expecting the rest to come in the course of the year. We also received quite a number of other smaller equipment for cargo handling. And all these were launched in 2023, despite the challenging outlook. We did not relent and pushed all that. And I think we are grateful that we ended the year well, and we are at least making some progress in the course of this year.
Right. Okay, so let's now turn our attention to port efficiency. How far have we come?
Well, efficiency, of course, is a factor of several issues. Infrastructure, definitely, and I think we have no doubt that we have the best container terminal in West and Central Africa, which has been operated by Marine Port Services. Though in terms of draft 16 meters we have Lomé terminal, which is -16. We have a couple of them, but in terms of efficiency, state-of-the-art equipment, MPS terminal in Tema Port is leading. And I think if you look at even the development so far in terms of this year, where we are receiving, I think we even started that last year. We are receiving direct calls of biggest vessels calling. And recent developments show that the interest for bigger vessels that will need -10 draft to call as the first point of call.
Yes.
So I think by way of efficiency, there is no doubt that we are making progress. But again, from our own side as GPHA, or globally within the country, the ICOMS has really come to improve efficiency. Of course, it all comes under the president's what do you call it, paperless port project, which we've been pursuing since 2017. I came to really consolidate those days GCNet and West Blue program into one single end-to-end cargo clearance process. And I think so far we've seen significant efficiency gains since that platform came on board. And on a daily basis, stakeholders are engaging and looking at all the loops that can be further improved. So I think in terms of efficiency, we are doing quite well. When we did our own little assessment what happens in other ports, if you look at the volumes we're receiving and the level of efficiency we are achieving, I think we can at least be proud of ourselves.
Right. Yeah. Awesome. All right. So every organization thrives on the quality of its human resource, the premium on the kind of human resource that they have. I just wanted to tell us about GPHA staff, the employees, and how contributing to the growth of the authority.
Well, every organization's prime asset is the human resource. Right. Because no matter how advanced technology goes, no matter how much, there will still be a human being behind somewhere who would at least manipulate the equipment for it to produce. So GPHA, we prioritize our human resource from inception, training of our human resource and motivating the human resource to do their best has always been the center of our every management's concern. And we've remained the same. I think what you just presented shows that we are even moving from the normal training of equipment operators to operate our machines to certifying them with under the CILT so that their certificates are recognized not just in Ghana but globally. So we continue to commit quite a lot of resources to train our human resource, training them both locally and out of the country. And I think we pride ourselves as quite a lot of, as one of the few ports. In fact, last year, we did quite a lot of training using our closest neighboring ports, which is Lomé. And the last time we had a conversation with them, they were very, very excited about that model where we are able to at least move people across the border to get them to train, not just train, but also get the opportunity to see what neighboring ports are doing. So the human resource remains our prime asset.
Okay, so I know that with the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority and operations in the port, for instance, digitalization as well as automation has taken center stage as far as operations are concerned. I just want to find out from you how the port authority is leveraging on these, to make the ports competitive.
Well, I think digitalization is no longer an option. It's an obligation. It's an obligation, and even prior to 2017, GPHA had already launched quite a lot of effort in terms of trying to digitalize our operations, the vessel services, cargo handling, where we introduced the TORS, we introduced enterprise resource management program, and we introduced quite a lot of other programs to try and digitalize. Because if you look at the process of cargo clearance, where you need to engage in manual and a lot of paperwork. It is something that is costly. And it's not just costly to the importer or exporter, but it's costly also to the service provider, which is the port. So all of us found ourselves obliged to try and move towards automation as the way to go, not just to speed up the process, but also to reduce cost. And we've introduced the terminal operating system, cargo handling, introduced the vessel traffic management system, to deal with the vessel side of the whole project. And of course, the ICOMS came to even help all of us. So when ICOMS came, we needed to do, from our end as a port, all our processes needed to also be networked so that we then hook on to ICOMS, which we've done. I think currently what is lacking now is what is called the maritime single window. And that one is mainly to manage vessel traffic, vessels, documentation, relationship with the Port Authority, with customs, with immigration and the rest. And our IT department is really working very hard at that to try. Fortunately, we have in-house capacity to develop that maritime single window, unlike other situations where we had to go and procure the software outside. And our IT department is busy developing that. They've already had a couple of stakeholder engagements to buy into that. We hope that very soon we'll be able to launch the maritime single window as well as part of our digitalization process.
Okay, so we're not talking about, you mentioned some of the things that happened in 2020 as far as equipment is concerned, some of the equipment that we took delivery of as a port authority. I just want to find out from you, because I know that infrastructure and equipment plays a very key role, you know, in port operations if you want to get there as an efficient and effective port. I just want to find out from you, what is the state of these in our ports? You mentioned Takoradi, some of the development projects that are ongoing there. MPS has become the best in West Africa, in our sub-region. What are we doing to ensure that, yes, the ports really are, you know, the preferred in the sub-region?
Well, we are
in terms of infrastructure and machinery.
Okay, we are doing everything possible. And if you take Takoradi Port, like I said, we have, you know that over the years, Takoradi was labeled as an export port. Absolutely. But, I mean, under the Port Development Master Plan and government's, you know, process, strategy to develop the entire country on equal levels, there was a need to look at the western part of the country to also have a fully fledged commercial port. So we decided to expand Takoradi Port for container handling as well. And currently, the Takoradi Port's container terminal, which is being operated by Atlantic Terminal Services Limited, you know, is developed also with at the same level with MPS Terminal 3 in Tema in terms of draft. It also has minus 16 meters. Right. It's just that naturally, because of its volumes that are not very high there, it is not as equipped as Tema. And that is also a private-led project. It's also a concession by Yale Port of Turkey, Ibis-Tech of Ghana, and GPHA. And we hope that there's a lot of effort currently ongoing to ensure that equipment are procured and every measures are operations, at least by the second half of this year. Okay. Now, that is for the container side. So it means that once they start operating, shippers in Ghana will now have a choice between Tema and Takoradi. It will no longer be Tema only. And that is a significant progress we've made. Now, for oil and gas, I mean, when Ghana got fortunate and we discovered oil in commercial quantities and started exploiting, there was a need for us to provide that centralized platform for oil and gas service provision. Right. Currently, in Western region, you will notice that the operators have facilities scattered at the airport, within the city, a little within the port. We needed to develop a one-stop shop, which we call the Takoradi Oil and Gas Services Terminal. That one, the contract, of course, Mr. President, we had the privilege from Mr. President to cut the sword for its commencement. Yes. It is ongoing, and we hope that they will be completed by September of this year. Once that is done, it means that all the oil and gas services logistics will also be concentrated in the port of Takoradi. Of course, I talked about the dry bulk terminal, which now has that conveyor system. Yes. And indeed, that prior to the commissioning of that dry bulk jetty, vessels could come to load clinker, to discharge clinker or load bauxite or manganese. And they could spend several days, 7 days, 10 days, 15 days. But today, with that facility in place, a bigger vessel comes, and it does not less than 3 days. And I think that is already a lot of savings. Quick turnaround time. A lot of savings for the vessel, a lot of savings for the cargo owner, and naturally it will make Ghana's manganese and bauxite more competitive on the export market. Right. Now, if you come to, of course, if you look at Tema's case, where we have MPS in terms of container handling as the flagship for West and Central Africa, in terms of equipment, in terms of facilities, in terms of efficiency, in terms of even level of technology that is employed there. I mean, it's a symbol of a lot of pride for us. But at that level, we are not also relaxing, because Tema, MPS is also a concession, just like Atlantic Terminals, where GPHA is also a participant. Right. So there's a lot of, I think, just quite recently, MPS commissioned the second phase, where the fourth BEF is being developed. So we are observing trade, and we're always making sure that we are a step ahead of the demands of trade. That expansion is ongoing. Within main Tema itself, there's a lot of effort, because we need to dredge the main port to deepen it, because our construction industry is booming. A lot of cement companies are in this country now. We have about 9 of them, and all of them need capacity to bring in materials to be able to produce cement. So we need deeper waters for bigger vessels to come. There's a program that is far advanced for us to dredge the port of Tema. Again, in terms of the marine side, you need to have all the crabs that are needed to ensure vessels are brought in and out efficiently.
Right.
That is why we procured two, in fact, in 2019, that we received the first two bigger tugboats that are used to bring in the bigger vessels.
Right.
And just this year, we also received two additional ones, two additional tugboats.
Yes.
And we have a program to even procure more.
Right.
For the patrol, the waters need to be patrolled for safety and security,
Yes.
which we are doing in collaboration with the Navy and Maritime Authority.
Right.
We've also procured 4 patrol boats that are supposed to arrive in this country by the latest, by the third week of this month of March.
Right.
Those ones should come. There's a 5th vessel that is also going to come that is mainly for pollution control and others. So on all the fronts, of course, for the cargo handling aspect itself, we've seen that there's a lot of effort to procure new equipment. Indeed, we ordered up to 12 reach stackers.
Wow.
And so far, 4 have arrived. We expect 8 to arrive. Hopefully, between now and the end of the year, all these will arrive. Within Tema Port, refrigerator container handling, that terminal is supposed to be paved.
Right.
And I think the contract has been awarded. We hope that the facility will be done. So generally, for us ports, we are doing everything to make sure that we are a step ahead of the trade. And so far, we've been receiving all the support we needed from government, from stakeholders, and it's been good.
Right. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so let's take a look at the ports in Ghana. And what would you say is the unique selling point of the Ghanaian ports? People tout us as safe, secure. They feel comfortable when they route their, cargo through our ports. What would you say is our unique selling point, sir?
Well, I think you just said it. Security is prime for ships, for cargo, and for human beings. And Ghana has always, even when you take it out into our general, we've always been the black star of Africa, from inception.
Yeah.
And I think that as ports, we haven't been oblivious of that. We've always made sure that wherever our name is mentioned as Ghana, we represent value and quality. And we try to make sure our ports are very secure. We work collaboratively with the police service, with the Navy, with the Ghana Maritime Authority, and customs, and everybody else who is supposed to play a role to ensure that our waters are safe, that our port anchorages are safe, that when you come into port, you don't face any security challenges, and cargo is also handled efficiently so that effectively such that there wouldn't be any damages. You don't get too many claims. So generally, you notice that even for transit landlord countries that are using our ports, when you ask them about the very first quality of Ghana's corridor, it is safety and security. That is what they mentioned. And our eye is on that to ensure that we do better all the time. We are not resting on our OS. Of course, efficiency in terms of handling the cargo itself as quickly as possible so that vessels can discharge cargo or load and leave within the shortest possible time.
Right.
That is also key. And I think so far we are doing very well. On the container handling side, on general cargo handling side, all these ones we are doing quite well. And of course, the Ghanaian hospitality itself makes anybody who operates within our territory feel comfortable and at home.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So many a time you would hear, the public say there's a lot of increase in the cost of doing business in the port. It's quite expensive.